What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, April 5th. The NFL 2021 draft is in the books. The Rodgers saga continues. Kevin Love is making a very interesting declaration. LeBron James called out the whole NBA, and probably the biggest headliner tonight, Marvin Scott returns. Boys, audience,
biggest headliner.
Let's
The
go.
Wire
Let's get it, y'all.
right now. Let's go. All right. Welcome to The Wire. We hope that you are ready for some sports action because there's a lot to talk about this week. Fellas, how we doing real quick?
How's Marvin doing? Doing?
I'm good, y'all. I'm just ready to get it rolling. Glad to be back. Glad to see y'all. Let's get it going, y'all.
Let's get it.
Man, Marvin Scott back.
You got a lot to cover. A lot of shit
to
is
cover.
going down.
a lot to go and a little
I'm here
time
for
to go.
Saeed. I'm here for Saeed. It's unpredictability.
You never know. Glad
All
you're
right.
back, homie.
Well,
brother.
we touched on last week Aaron Rodgers and that growing situation. Well, actually, stalemated situation in Green Bay with Brian Gutekunst. I know I said his name wrong again. His statement last
Did he
week.
pronounce that right?
I think so. Gutekunst? Is that right?
Gutekunst. Is it Gutekunst?
Gutekunst?
Yeah, Gutekunst. You got it.
Gutekunst. Brian G. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers talked to several members of the Green Bay staff about how he does not want to return to the team this upcoming season, following Brian G's statements last week when he said Rodgers is our guy. We all know that if Green Bay doesn't make a move on Aaron Rodgers' behalf, then last year's MVP quarterback will really have only two options, right? He can either play or he can go home because he's got that, just a friendly reminder before we send it, he's got that no trade stipulation in his contract. When he signed, it was clear that he was comfortable at Green Bay. So first question, and we'll send it around, and whoever wants it can pick it up first. If this stalemate persists, what do you think Aaron Rodgers will do? Will he play or will he go home?
Marvin's the cheesehead, so Marvin, please, first.
Whew, man, you had to go there on me, Richie. Man, you had to bring that up, man. First of all, I gotta tell you, it hurts being a Packers fan. It really has. Like, I mean, just when you think the regular season is going well, you get to the postseason, all those postseason hopes go away. Going to a Super Bowl, and you hoping Aaron Rodgers goes back to a Super Bowl. It just seems like it just never happens. Well, it just hasn't been the case. But I think that in this case here, I had to think about it. I think Aaron Rodgers ultimately should play, and Brian Gutekunst should be fired. I think that should happen because when you think about it, they have failed to put a consistent defense around. Well, they haven't built a consistent defense since the 2010 Super Bowl run. And that's a damn shame. Now, you've got a transcendent quarterback, a generational talent that to me, in my eyes, has gone to waste in the last 10 years, the last decade. You know, NFC championship game after NFC championship game, and they still can't get it done. And really, it doesn't really fall on the offense. I mean, sure, Aaron Rodgers can take some ownership in some of those playoff games. But when you really look at the bigger picture of it, it was the defense. You know, those general managers haven't done enough to put a defense around Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about building a team around somebody, around your star quarterback. If he's your guy, why haven't you done that? Why did you trade up in the draft to get a quarterback and not even tell your franchise quarterback? They didn't even pick up the phone. Like, they didn't even call him. Not even a text. Not a Slack message, nothing. They didn't even hit Aaron Rodgers up. Nothing at all. So when you really think about it, they're the ones that's the problem. So if Aaron Rodgers is requesting that one of them be fired or both be fired, which I don't think both of them are going to be fired in this situation, but I think you could fire, Brian Gutekunst. You could fire him. He hasn't done shit, if you ask me. You haven't put a consistent, like I said, you haven't put a winner together. To me, you've gotten to the NFC Championship game, but you still haven't included your star quarterback and a lot of the decisions that have been made over the years. And speaking as a Packers fan, I know this because I've seen the holes. I've seen them not have a rushing defense. How glaring is that year after year? Todd Gurley, who's got arthritic knees, can have a 100-yard game on the Packers. I remember that because he was on my fantasy team. So it just really, when you look at it, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't retire. We don't want to see that. He's 37 years old. And I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, maybe a new change of scenery would be great for him. But I don't really think so. I mean, who's his candidates? I mean, with the Raiders and you got with the Broncos reportedly, right? I just don't even see that being a great fit. You got a generational talent, Devontae Adams. You really want to leave that? Like, you really want to leave like this offense? I would say they should do what Aaron Rodgers. If he's your guy, fire Brian Gutekunst. Fire that dude, so you can have a general manager that can make the best decisions for the rest of Aaron Rodgers' career if he wants to stay there. Because we all don't want to see him pull a Carson Palmer and just up and, retire, hold his ball and just say, I'm going to retire. Nobody wants to see that. Like, that's not good for football, and nobody wants to, no disrespect to Jordan Love, but nobody wants to see him play. As a Packers fan, I want to see him play. I want to see Aaron Rodgers. Like, you got to the NFC Championship game. Do what the man, give the man what he wants.
Sahi, does Aaron Rodgers play or does he go host Jeopardy? What do you think?
Aaron Rodgers, is he going to play or is he hosting Jeopardy? As a Bucs fan, as a Bucs fan, I want Aaron Rodgers to go home. Get that bad man out of Green Bay. We don't want to see him. He's too good. I'm glad the Packers are messing it up for him. They're idiots. How do you got a former MVP and he's talking about he wants to leave? Like, you should really do everything in your power that he wants to do. They should be bowing down to Aaron Rodgers. Philly made a shrine to Nick Foles when he won him that Super Bowl. Nick Foles, and he's bouncing around the league. This dude had a
third string in Chicago. Third
string. And Aaron Rodgers is doing everything he can. NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game. I've seen what the Packers look like. I'm sure you have, Marv, of when Aaron Rodgers is maybe hurt, he's not in. Who do they have? Brent Hutley, the rookie they look terrible. I don't care if Jordan Love's going to come in. He's not going to do what Aaron Rodgers can do. The reason why they're good and they win because he's smart and he can make the plays that's necessary to be made to win close games. And you're not going to find that in everybody. I mean, I really feel like he's going to play, but it's going to be ugly in Green Bay. I'm hoping he leaves. I'm hoping he leaves though.
Richie, I want to know your answer to the same question, whether or not he's going to play or go home. But I also, as a sidebar question for you, I guess you could say Rodgers was initially, and I have to do this pun, cheesed off when they traded up to get Jordan Love in the draft last year. My question is my side question. Obviously, does he play or go home? But in order to end this stalemate, what does he want? What does Aaron Rodgers want to happen so that he will play?
Yeah. Okay. So do I think he's going to play or take the ball home? I think he's going to play. But what I will say is the entire NFC North and the Denver Broncos are really happy about what's going on right now. Let's just put it that way. Because, generational talent. But like I said last week on The Wire, 37 years old. Same statistics as Brett Favre when he was jettisoned from Green Bay. Obviously in different circumstances, but just saying it's very possible this trade or something happens. In terms
minus
of what
the
are
interceptions.
Minus the interceptions, but again, let's give the man some respect. 3-time MVP Brett Favre. But having said that, Aaron Rodgers, current MVP, reigning MVP, you trade up in the draft. Originally, allegedly, it was reported you wanted a wide receiver, but you lost the 2 opportunities for the guys you had planned. So you just go, love. And you didn't call Aaron. No, nobody believes that. You had time to talk to Aaron. Now, what does he want, to Justin's point? I'm not really sure, other than he wants the people who scorned him fired, right? Clearly. Here's what I will say, because a lot has been spoken already about Aaron Rodgers. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, period. But honestly, I will say kind of a diva, personally. Oh no, they drafted he talked earlier about he wants, to compete and he will always win the competition. And then they draft a kid in the first round and now he's upset. Now, don't get me wrong, it's more to it than that. It's that you could have drafted a defensive player, to Marvin's point. But I'm just saying, on some levels, you're 37 years old. At some point, they have to groom someone while you're still competitive and ride the pony. Like in the modern NFL, too often, we see these guys just going in and being busts because they're not, the NFL is challenging. Look at Peyton Manning, 28 interceptions his rookie year, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You can't just throw people in there. So I get why he's upset, because he wanted defensive players and potentially another weapon on offense. And if you're going to give it to a quarterback, he's the guy to get it over Patrick Mahomes, over Tom Brady. It's this guy. 78% of his passes went to Devontae Adams last year. That's indicative of, 1, he loves Adams, but 2, it's the only guy he trusts. So sure, you got to draft some more offense for him. But to answer the question again, I don't know what he wants. I think he just wants some heads to roll, right? He's just all these people have put me in position. You finally got rid of Mike McCarthy 8 years too late. And now you've been leaving me with these GMs that don't know anything. You hire a new kid, Matt LaFleur. I've never heard of him. And then you tell me, don't be the problem when Matt LaFleur comes in. Of course I feel disrespected. I'm the reigning MVP. The only guy who's got a better arm than me is, and not actually better, but a winner, is Tom Brady. Outside of Tom Brady, who would I rather have than Aaron Rodgers? Nobody. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers over Patrick Mahomes, over any of these guys. It's not even close. This guy is and we talked about before, touchdown to interception ratio. Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate quarterback in modern history, period, because he does not turn the ball over. So you're talking about the least turnovers in history, one of the most accurate quarterbacks. Why on earth would you just please this guy? If he wants a say, fine. As long as he doesn't dictate the draft, let him feel involved. This was shambles by Green Bay. They're in a lot of trouble because this guy holds a grudge. I mean, look how long he was upset about being 24th pick in the draft, and that he had to sit on the bench for 5 years behind Brett Favre, who again, may not be his caliber, but one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time as well. This guy has an ego because he deserves it, because he's one of the best, but he just wants people to get fired because he's angry with them. I don't know if I agree with that. And to roster wise, Justin, I don't know what else he wants, right? But let's just go with, he wants some dudes to lose their jobs because they've been pissing him off for too long. That's what I'm going with.
All right. I got a 90-second rebut if anybody wants it. Otherwise, we're going to keep the ball rolling. Anybody want it? Let's move on from Aaron Rodgers. Okay, we're going to dab over to baseball just real quick. Not a lot going on that I want to talk about this week. I will say, just since we have Marvin back, I should clear the air. The New York Yankees are the Yankees-ish again. They're 14-14 as of this record. So they've kind of redeemed that 5-10 start. We'll see what happens as they continue on.
Sir.
Still the worst start in Yankees history. Still,
okay, it doesn't matter how you start; it's how you finish, and that's always how it matters. All that matters for the Yankees.
Oh man! All right. Well, so and I apologize if I get his name wrong. I believe it's Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Angels. He got scratched from pitching this week after taking a 93-mile-per-hour fastball on the elbow pad this past weekend. He is anticipated to return soon. He was just describing some soreness in the elbow after the game. But I saw the story, And then I saw this guy's stat cards 5 weeks into the season. And I'm like, all right, I got to get your guys' perspective. So let me just run this down for you real quick. Ohtani has a batting average as of week 5 of 263, 8 home runs, 20 RBIs with a career high of .606 slug percentage. And I don't know a whole lot about slug percentage. I had to look it up. I'm not going to lie. He, as a pitcher with just 3 starts, 1-0 with 3.29 earned runs average and 23 strikeouts. What do you make of Shohei Ohtani? Fellas, whoever wants it first. I think reverse order. So yeah, Richie's first.
How do I say this? I think the dude, like, it's weird that he's like a designated hitter and a pitcher. You know, like, I think that's kind of bizarre. I also think, like, it's funny, like, when you think of a pitcher, you don't think of a guy who's just gonna like smack it. I don't know what else to say. Like, he can't make contact, but when he makes contact, it goes out the park, which I think is a little weird. I think that's what I think is bizarre about it, because it doesn't make sense when you think about that. Like, realistically, like, for instance, one of the greatest pitchers I've ever seen generationally was Greg Maddux. And he had to play in the National League where he had to bat. So he had to bat a lot. And the only thing that dude could do well was bunt. And that's what he did. And same thing with Tommy Glavine, same thing. But this dude, it's like he's going to miss 4 out of 5 times. But if he hits it, it might go out of the park, which I think is just bizarre. I don't know what to say. And it's like, he's a tall dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you think of his name and it's Japanese, like, he's like 6'5" or something. He's a big guy. Like, he's a big dude. So, I mean, it makes sense in terms of like him being able to make contact and rip it. But I've never seen like a pitcher where it's just like, if he's the only thing you can expect if he makes contact is it's either an out, a strikeout, or a home run. I think that's a little weird. So I don't really have much else to say other than, like, you know, I'm looking at his statistics and I've seen him play like 2 or 3 games, but it's just a weird, I don't know, weird, right? Like, would I take this guy? Yes, but if I was in the National League, right? Because, like, I'm gonna get more use out of him than if he's like in the American League, in my opinion. So,
Sahi, what do you make of him playing both sides of the ball like that? Being a pitcher, which is a highly active position on the team, and a designated hitter, is that going to, I mean, right now, for instance, 5 weeks in, he is out. Minor injury, granted, but it was a 93 mile per hour fastball to the elbow. I mean, what do you make of it?
Yeah. It sounds like an awesome story. A guy that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not too familiar with him. But hearing Richie talk about him, it's either, you know what I'm saying, he's going to miss or it's going out the park. And I mean, a guy like that, I mean, if he can't pitch anymore, I mean, I'd rather have him hitting, you know? Let's get him better at making more contact. And, you know what I'm saying, there's plenty of guys that can pitch. If you can hit that good, and you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not going to say that good, but if from what I see, like, yo, he's not hitting all the time, but when he does hit, I mean, he's smacking them out of the park. I'm like, yo, dude, let's talk about some different things. But I don't know. It sounds like an interesting story. A guy, something I have to get more familiar with. What team does he play for? I don't watch a lot of
He plays for the Angels. Angels.
Oh, that's my team. Okay.
And what's funny about this guy, he's the only guy in the 100-year history of the league to start a game as the pitcher and lead the league in home runs at the same time.
Yeah. I heard
yeah.
Marvin, I saved this for you because I know you're a baseball guy. I heard today that you could almost compare him to Babe Ruth. I didn't hear him compared to Babe Ruth. I'm not making that comparison on the wire.
No, why not go that far?
I wouldn't go that far either.
No.
First of all, he's not that good. Second of all, he needs 100 pounds. He's got to be really fat.
100 pounds, and he's got to eat 100 hot dogs every day.
Yeah. What do you make
and
of
work
this
out.
guy?
Oh, I'm meaning to ask you, Jess. I mean, I need you to do some research on his contract situation, you know, because there's no salary cap in baseball. And it seems to me as if, from judging from these stats here, it looked like he has the wrong jersey on. And I think that at some point he should put on the pinstripes.
Hey, Marv.
He'd be a better fit than from LA to New York. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Richie?
He making 2 years, $8.5 million. I feel like he gonna put some pinstripes on to get paid.
Yeah, he's going to get paid. I mean, we got the money.
He had a 500-foot home run this year. 500-foot home run.
500-foot home run as a pitcher and as a designated hitter. That's unheard of. Man, I have MLB The Show. I don't know if any of y'all played that, but that is my shit. And I can't even do that on that game. I've watched, I love baseball and I love, the pitching position. And growing up watching, Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, Andy Pettit, Roger Clemens. And I mean, that dude was fat. And so he couldn't hit. None of those dudes could hit. They couldn't do shit, but they could pitch though. But it's rare that you see a guy like this put up these kind of numbers. I mean, it's stellar. It's unheard of. I mean, eight home runs for a pitcher. Like Richie was saying, I mean, a pitcher's lucky if he even makes contact. You just tell him just like, okay, get your strikeout. Don't waste your arm. Yeah, don't waste your arm. Don't waste your shit. But this guy seems to be like a machine, and they lucked out. It's going to be interesting to see what they do come the end of the season or where they go, because that dude going to want to get paid. And like I said, there's no salary cap in baseball, so they better make sure none of these East Coast teams grab him up. I'm sorry, Sahi, I know that's your favorite team, but we got to snatch one of those players off of it and give him a better opportunity and a better payday. I'm gonna remain biased on this topic and say he should, look elsewhere.
All right. We're gonna move it on from baseball. I agree. And I did not compare him myself. And Richie already got you on the contract, $8.5 million over the next 2 years. All right, the NFL draft happened. Peanuts. I'll take those peanuts. Actually,
we just need Cracker Jack.
Just a few.
All right. So the draft. I've got a two-parter on the NFL draft. Now, we did talk about this going into the draft. We were kind of pre-analyzing, doing things like that. We talked about Justin Fields, and I believe, Richie, that you said that if he was not taken in the top 7 picks, we were to expect foul play. When I say foul play, referring to the draft's, we'll say for PC record, alleged history of racial discrimination in the draft.
Yes.
We all believe it, the way we believe it and the way we stated it before. Justin Fields was, in fact, the 11th overall pick, and he wound up in Chi-Town with the Bears. I think we expected Trevor Lawrence to go to Jacksonville, but we had Zach Wilson going number 2 to the Jets and Trey Lance going number 3 to the 49ers.
Number 3 to the 49ers.
First off, what do you guys make of these first 3 QB picks? Is 11th too late for Fields? And while we're at it, is 15th too late for Mac Jones? We're starting with Sahi. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, 15 for Mac Jones. For me, that's about right. I like the situations of every quarterback that got selected, except for Zach Wilson. I feel like the Jets really made a mistake passing up on Justin Fields at number 2. Just because he's played in high pressure situations, he's an athlete, he can move with the ball. They don't have a lot of weapons in New York, so there's not a lot of people that Zach Wilson can lean on. He's going to have to be the guy, and we just haven't seen him be that guy. He looks great in the combine and in shorts and everything like that, but what competition did he play against? You know what I'm saying? How many losses did BYU go undefeated? Was he like truly dominating to be the number 2 pick? I'm not sure. I feel like if the picks were swapped, Justin Fields and Zach Wilson, I'd be elated for all the quarterbacks. But Justin Fields is in a great position. He's got a great defense. The Bears have weapons, and I feel like that was a great spot for him to go to Chicago. They did a great job moving up to get him, trading to get him. So I'm excited to see this year. I think the quarterbacks went where they were supposed to go, but the Jets, they just made a huge mistake.
All right, Marvin, what do you make of? I'll run down those questions real quick again. One, what do you make of those first 3 quarterback picks? 2, is 11th too late for Fields? And 3, is 15th way too late for Mac Jones? With a twist of, we mentioned last time, and we're happy to have you back here on the wire. We mentioned last time how there has been, in our opinion, a history of racial discrimination in these quarterback runs in the NFL draft.
That's interesting. I won't deny that there's been a history of racism in the NFL draft. We've clearly seen it. I can honestly say for many black quarterbacks, they've said that they're not really intelligent enough, to play the position. And that's been through an array of quarterbacks you can think of through history. Cam Newton was even saying one time during the interview that they had asked them questions that didn't even really relate to football. So I would say that I have seen over the course of watching football for many years some racism in the draft. In this case, in this particular draft, I'm not sure if I can call it. I mean, I'm sure it's going on. But with these picks, I honestly would have to say Justin Fields landed where he was supposed to go. I don't think that it would have been a great fit for him with the Jets. I don't think so. I honestly think that quarterback to quarterback, Zach Wilson performed better on the eye test. I mean, you kind of see the loose, some elusiveness from Justin Fields, but I think they really looked at a lot of breakdowns, some breakdowns within his game. I think when it came to that and a scheme fit with the new coach and for the Jets. So I think that it just wouldn't have worked for Justin Fields as far as the scheme fit. But I think that Zach Wilson, with them drafting Elijah Moore, I think that with that air raid offense that I forget what's the new coach's name. Is it Salih? Somebody help me out here. Or what's the new Jets coach's name?
Justin's gonna get on it. I don't know it.
Damn. What's it?
Robert Salih. Yeah.
Robert Salih. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see, that air raid style offense that he'll bring to the Jets with Zach Wilson. So I really think I think they found their guy. I would honestly say that Zach Wilson, to me, is going to have a better start than Sam Darnold. That's what I think. I think that if you're the Jets, that was your move. But the Justin Fields sliding to the Bears, there's no problem with that. I think they found their guy. We all know damn well that Andy Dalton is not a QB1. He is far from a QB1. So it is perfect. It is perfect fit for Justin Fields. I didn't want him to go to the Jets simply because for those reasons, emotional reasons. I didn't want him to go to the Jets with no damn running back or really rookie receivers. Really, I want him to go to the Bears, where you've got Allen Robinson, where you've got David Montgomery, you've got a running game, you've got an established team, you got a defense, you got Khalil Mack. All you got to do is slide him in, and he's the Kyler Murray of the NFC North, pretty much. Because if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers, the Bears are, and if they integrate Justin Fields in quick enough, if they could just make that decision not to start Andy Dalton, and they just, it's probably going to take maybe a couple games, but if you put him in the lineup, if you finally, make him your QB1, I think the Bears will be the best in that division. I think that Justin Fields landed where he's supposed to. And on the flip, what was the question? Was it about Mac Jones? Justin
Mac Jones, pick 15, yep.
Mac Jones is a fat ass quarterback to me. And there I said it. He's got a gut. I didn't like what I saw at the combine. I honestly don't think that the Patriots found their franchise quarterback, even in Mac Jones. I honestly don't see it. And I'm gonna ask y'all something. When was the last time y'all seen a quarterback from Alabama be successful in the NFL in the last decade? They haven't. You just haven't seen it. It just hasn't happened. I mean, they produce great players, great defensive players, great running backs, but I just haven't seen great quarterbacks be produced out of Alabama. So I'm not really sold, on Mac Jones. I think, but Belichick, I mean, I guess they had to do something. I mean, they had to do something. I mean, you got Cam Newton on another 1-year deal. You had to do something, because I think I would agree what they all say, that they're in quarterback purgatory right now. Trey Lance, I think that was a great pickup for San Francisco. To be honest with you, Jimmy Garoppolo has been injury riddled since they got him, been damaged goods. I think you got a nice young core of wide receivers out there, Brandon Ayuk. You got Raheem Mostert. I think he, sliding him in, from day one at training camp, letting Jimmy Garoppolo know, hey, we're sorry, but we're going to go with, we didn't draft him number 2 for no reason. So, sorry, but he's our guy, and Jimmy's going to have to probably sit the bench. But I think that they've found their cornerstone they can build around. So I don't really see a Aaron Rodgers trade or anything. But I really like what I'm seeing from Trey Lance, and I think that he'll be that leader for that franchise for years to come.
All right, Richie. Before we go to the break, what do you think? What do you make of the draft? Are you standing by what you said before? The world wants to know.
Yeah, I'm not standing by what I said. And the reason why is, originally I said if he didn't get picked in the top 7, it was gonna be racism. Well, Trey Lance is black. All right. So what am I can't sit there and be like, yeah, I double down on it. Like, the boy black, it just, for whatever reason, and who are we to judge? Their scouting felt Trey Lance was the future in San Francisco. And let's clarify some things. I'm with I think it's a great pick. I'm not a 49ers fan at all. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's always plagued with injury. You got to look to the future. But when he's playing, he's a great quarterback. So he's, like I talked about, this is that perfect, you sit on the bench and you learn from someone. Alex Smith, what's his face? Jesus, I'm losing. Patrick Mahomes, he's the same concept, right? You got a 20-year-old stud, 6'4", almost 6'5", 240, and he's 20 years old, and he's a beast. And again, though, he only played in 2019, really. 2018, red shirt. 2020, played an exhibition game and didn't want to because of COVID. So the 49ers clearly saw like him in person, and based on the 2019 film, just felt that confident that Trey's their guy. I think Zach Wilson kind of got like the worst of the group, and not that he will be, but the Jets. Like, that's just the media, the New York media. It's always hard. To me, I think if Fields went there, he's just the most he's the most ready, him and Lawrence, and obviously Lawrence isn't falling. So I think if Fields would have went to New York, at least he'd be able to probably handle the scrutiny and be more game ready right now. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out. Mac Jones going to 15 makes sense. The only exception you could have argued is maybe Atlanta would take him, but then they could have took Fields, and they went with Pitts, who's arguably the best player in the draft when you look at position. Pitts is going to be like potential Hall of Famer, amazing tight end. And then, you look at Chase, he's definitely one of the Bengals there. They have Burrow. That's not happening. Same thing with the Dolphins. They took Waddle. They wanted a wide receiver. They're not worried about quarterback. And then, the Lions went with Sewell, like the best tackle. Why wouldn't you, right? And then, what was it? Horn, and then what was it? Surtain the second? Both of them went back-to-back cornerbacks. So you didn't have a quarterback option until the Bears. So Fields falling only fell because it's the next team that wanted a quarterback. And don't get me wrong, I'm a little bummed for him just because I just don't trust Chicago. Like, they have potential. They have the weapons. And I'll say with this, their quarterback history sucks as their franchise. Well, Jim McMahon was never that good. Let's just be honest. Their defense carried him. And then, like, who's the next best guy? Jay Cutler? I mean, this is an opportunity for Fields to look like, a golden nugget in turds. Even if he's not that great, he could look amazing. So I playing for the Ohio State, watching what happened to him, not, get drafted all the way to 11th, and Chicago trading up for him, quite frankly, because Minnesota wanted him. They were going to pick him at 14, but when Chicago traded with the Giants, they were like fleeced and upset. They wanted him badly, but they didn't think they were, they kept thinking he would just keep sliding because it was Dallas and then the Chargers, and both of them don't need quarterbacks. So they were like, I'm not going to take the risk. But look, kudos to Chicago. After the Trubisky thing, people have been giving them flack for so long. And that, they screw things up. Well, this was a great pickup for them. This is going to make them competitive instantly, whether Aaron Rodgers is playing or not in Green Bay. This is what they needed. They needed a quarterback. Like I said about the kid, he's tough, and he's going to need to be tough playing in the NFC North. But I'm looking forward to seeing all of it. Quite frankly, I'm most intrigued about Trey Lance. I think he's got the best spot because he has no pressure. He's honestly already on a great team. They just, last year they had a lot of issues with COVID. They're the best team out of all these like garbage quarterback teams right now by a mile. Most talented for sure. And now he's going to get to sit on the bench with no pressure, learning from Jimmy Garoppolo potentially. We don't know if he's going to teach him. Trey Lance has like the best route in the industry here. But did I expect Fields to fall to 11? Not really. But after I saw what played out, it's what Marvin said. This is the best spot for Fields. Honestly, this is the best spot for everyone except for Wilson. And the only way I think it would have worked out for everyone involved is if Fields went to the Jets and then Wilson ended up going to Chicago. Because I think, again, Chicago media is tough, but it's not New York Jets tough. I mean, there's nothing worse than the New York. They are awful. Chad Pennington tried so hard, and he was terrible. Let's not kid ourselves. But he tried so hard, and that they went 10-6 year after year after year, and then they just roasted that boy, and it wasn't even his fault.
They ran him all the way to Miami.
They ran him all the way to Miami, man. They're Jets, Mark Sanchez. They've never had a quarterback worth their salt. So them picking up Wilson is a question mark, but let's give them a chance. We will see. On tape, and to Marvin's point, the eye test, Wilson looks crazy. We'll just have to see if that actually translates. So do I think it was racist like it can be? No. Could it still have been? Possibly, because we heard about the whole bullcrap with Fields, his lazy work ethic. We heard these things already, which is how we discussed this previously. But having said that, I can't in good conscience be like, black kid got drafted third and they still racist. So I can't go that route. But what I will say is shame on the Jets for going with the eye tests over the proven commodities. To me, I think they take Fields. I think that was the better choice. I still stick to that. But I think overall, for most of the teams, this is where it needs to go. I'm not going to shit on Mac Jones like Marvin did. Enough was said. He's got a beer gut. He's lucky he's in New England. And if anyone can get him to play well with his lackluster skill, it's going to be Bill Belichick. So I'm sure he'll be fine too. I think everyone's going to have a good opportunity. Maybe not Wilson, but I think everyone else is going to flourish.
True. I know one quarterback who made the beer gut work to at least a couple of rings over there. And
did he go to Alabama?
No, no, he went to Miami of Ohio.
Without dummies, he probably should have went to Alabama.
I should have.
Well, folks, you are watching The Wire. When we come back, we're going to talk NBA. Don't go anywhere. I saw him play at Miami and he really wasn't that great.
No, I did. My sister was at Miami. I watched him play a lot. That's why I'm very critical. I've known who he was a long time.
I only got to see him in one game.
When he was the Red Hawks.
Yeah.
Miami.
Red Hawks. Miami, yeah.
All right. So this is Gary 43. He says, I feel like Justin is the reason this country has to put directions on shampoo. Do you even know what you're talking about, bro? No, I don't, Gary fucking 43. I have no idea. I don't even use shampoo. I just use 1 3-in-1 body wash, you bastard.
All right, this is from Karen 45. How do you feel about being ranked sexiest man on your podcast when Tony looks like a barbecued Kermit the Frog?
Jesus Christ.
Wait a second. Why? That sounds like a Tony rip. Why is Marvin?
That's a Tony rant. Is that towards me?
Wow.
Does Christy think having a child on her lap makes her seem more likable? Also, get some sleep. You look tired. Thanks, Breezy. I'm trying.
Adam says, I see ratings must have been down. They recruited someone interesting.
Wow.
All right.
Some burn on the rest of us.
Oh, I mean, thank you, Adam.
Ashley says, I watch the show a lot and I was wondering, are you all changing the name to RT2M? Richie talks too much. I don't know what to say, Ashley, other than I feel like I talk exactly as much as I should. So fuck you.
Yes. Oh boy. Margaret says, is it me or when Tony talks, do you get the feeling he's constipated?
Yeah. Well, that face right there doesn't really help you.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Wire. It is time to talk a little basketball. First and foremost, we got to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. They took down the Brooklyn Nets 117 to 114. Now, they are playing again between when we're recording this and when you're going to see it. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I will tell you the game that I saw, Giannis versus Durant, is a better title for it. Giannis had 49 points to KD's 42. There were dunks and slap away shots all over the place. Now, like I said, they're playing again, which will be yesterday for you folks that are watching now. But I want to send it around the horn and ask, what is the biggest takeaway, given that we could very well see this matchup again in the playoffs?
Biggest takeaway for me, real simple. Now, off of one game, it's hard to say, but real simple. It's not a free coast. They got to get through Milwaukee. People keep forgetting Milwaukee. People also forget the fact that Milwaukee, for the last 2 years consecutively, with a best team record, period, not just in the East. In addition to that, they got to get past Philadelphia. Like, we keep talking about the star power, and it's just like, well, but we've talked about it over and over. How are they going to deal with bigs? And to me, that's the two. They're more likely to have to deal with the East than the West, because like I said, they got to get past Embiid. They got to get past the Akintempo. Like, this is what I want to see. Now, sure, it was a cool shootout, and it's like, the meme we talked about. They're going to score like 150 points each, and there isn't going to be defense. But the bottom line is just real simple. My takeaway is the Nets have to get past two really strong, very tall, very big teams in the East. And it is not as easy as everyone likes to keep making it out to be. Having said that, I am curious, and it's just one game, but I want to see these two teams play, because I think it'll be more electric. I think Philadelphia is just going to be based on, is Embiid playing well or not, right? Because I really do think the Bucks have a better defense. But if Embiid's playing well, it doesn't even matter, because there's nothing the Nets can do if that gorilla just wants to get in the paint and use his 7'3" body. He's incredible. Like, I don't want him taking threes. I just want him going in the paint, dunking, a la Shaquille O'Neal 2000. He's the closest thing, and not even close to Shaquille, but I'm just saying he's the closest physically dominant presence we've seen since Shaq in that period of time. The guys play so soft now. And, when Embiid really does play physical, like he should, and what he's capable of doing, I don't think anybody, including the Lakers, and we'll probably get to them later, have a chance. So takeaway, Nets better do something, and they got to get ready, because yes, they've been doing well in the regular season, even with their players taking games off. Durant out for 20 plus games, Irving out for 5, Harden out for 10, and they're still like second or third in the East. Bottom line is this: it's not one game, it's 7. So yeah, they're winning a lot of one games, but no, they're gonna have to play 7 games against, in my opinion, their 2 toughest matchups, which happen to be in their own conference. So we'll see. I really want to see that. I'm ready for the playoffs, man. We're almost there.
We are almost there. We are knocking on the door. Sahi, what do you take away from this epic shootout between Giannis. I'm not going to try his last name. I know we say it all the time on here. I know it's Antetokounmpo. I tried it. Oh, I got it. And Durant, that 49-42 shootout. What do you take? What's your biggest takeaway from the game?
It's exciting to see. You want to see regular games like that. That's kind of been the criticism for a long time in the NBA. Like, it gets close to playoff time, or just during the regular season, guys are taking games off. And in NBA, you want to watch something entertaining. And when you get two of the biggest stars going at each other like that, that's great for ratings. That's great for bringing in new fans. And that gives the people something exciting and something to look forward to come playoff time. I was just going to ask, how many did Giannis, did he shoot any threes, any jump shots, or were they all dunks? Pretty much. Because I didn't watch the game, because that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, he can get to the lane.
He was knocking down threes. They was disrespecting him, Sahi, and leaving him open.
See, that's what the Bucks need. That's if he can do that in the playoffs and can do it consistently, it's going to be real tough to stop Milwaukee, because for so long Giannis just relied on getting to the basket, using his speed and size to take advantage of teams. That's not really, each team is just trying to get to through the regular season, so they're not game planning extra hard to stop a particular thing. They're going in with a game plan, and they hope it works. And hope their star players get them to where they need to go. But come playoff time, teams build that wall in front of Giannis, so you can't get to the paint, and you got to beat us with jump shots. And if he's beating them with jump shots, they're going to be tough to beat. So the Nets, they have a lot to work on. I hope it works for them, but they've got some beasts in the East, as we've been saying. So it's going to be exciting come playoff time. That's all that game.
4 for 8 on the 3-point line, Sahi. So 50% shooting, 4 for 8 to Marvin's point.
Man, it was on fire. Marvin, what did you take away from this game? And also, does this prove that Brooklyn's defense is an issue when you're up against guys like Giannis?
Yeah, I mean, when you watch this game, I watched it yesterday, and they have glaring holes in their defense. I mean, you just can't have DeAndre Jordan be a Giannis stopper. That's just not going to happen. Like, that can't be the only guy you have. A guy that was once a cornerstone of a franchise who was pretty much on the tail end of his career. Yeah, sure, he can give you some good numbers here and there, but he ain't stopping Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's just not about to happen. He's not doing it. There is nobody, like, they have no interior force. And this is what we were saying in the beginning of the year. When you gave up all that size for all these stars, they had to think about, once you get, almost to the postseason, it's much, when the playoffs start, it's about matchups. The floor shrinks. This is like what you said, Sahi, a wall will be built up for Giannis, but at the same time for the Nets, like, you have no interior answers for any bigs in the East. And I think we all can agree on that. Not Joel Embiid, not who else am I missing here? Not Bam Adebayo. Who else? Who else am I missing?
Not Giannis, obviously, right?
Not Giannis. Obviously not Giannis yesterday, because he dropped 49. He dropped 49 on their head, and that was without James Harden. And so, I mean, if James Harden was in this game, I really don't think it matters, because you'd have to look at the big picture of it. Because even if they have James Harden, what are you really asking the Nets to do? This is what we said at the beginning of the year. When you put this team together and you account the injuries, like, they don't have the continuity that other teams have right now. They don't have the continuity that a Miami Heat has, or even a Boston that they're starting to gain some momentum, or Philly. Doc is real good about bringing teams together for one common goal. So when you look at that, I honestly don't think that the Nets are ready postseason wise. I think you got a great show out of Kevin Durant yesterday. We know he can do that. But Kyrie yesterday, if he's great, but he looked off. He looked off at a majority of that game. He is turning the ball over. I mean, they both were. I mean, so what are you really asking James Harden to do when he comes back? Are you asking him to if they play the Bucks in the series, are you asking them to shoot? Are you asking him to step away from his point guard duties, or you want him to be playmaking? Because if he's missing shots, I mean, and everyone's missing shots, and you have no interior answer for Giannis, they're going to get blown off the court. It might be a 7-game series, and the Bucks easily could take that because they got Drew Holiday, who's no joke on the perimeter defending. So that was the biggest takeaway for me is the glaring holes in their interior defense. They got nobody.
We're going to do a quick one take on Kevin Love before we get into our main story on NBA, because we have a lot to talk about tonight. So I want to keep it quick. And Sahi, you talked about this before, so I just wanted to bring this to you real quick. Kevin Love told another sports podcast, and he could have came on the wire. You could have came on the wire, Kevin. We're in Ohio too, what some of us are. Told another sports podcast that it would be special for him to play for the Portland Trailblazers. What do you make of this conversation? What kind of sportsmanship is this?
I mean, for this instance, I mean, you're playing in Cleveland. There's not a lot going on. He's probably not really interested in where the team's going in direction. You got to think, he was once with LeBron going to finals back to back to back. You know what I'm saying? Living the good life. And LeBron left him. He's there stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, what else are you thinking about, Kevin? And that's probably, you know what I'm saying, where his mind is. His mind is elsewhere. He doesn't want to be in Cleveland. He's been thinking about it for so long, and the more you think about it, it's eventually just going to come out. You know what I'm saying? So he's airing it out now. I don't think Cleveland will be very mad. He's not a staple piece of their team. They're getting younger. They got a youth movement going on. So, you know what I'm saying? Tell us what you want, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? You earn that right to be like, I don't want to be here. Everybody else is moving everywhere. So, you know what I'm saying?
Zion didn't get that, but Kevin can say it. Right.
He's a veteran. Zion, he's young.
He's earned his stripes.
Right? Zion, you just got here. Now you talking about you want to go somewhere else?
That's a former NBA champion, okay? And let's not forget, there's two Kevin Loves. There's fat Kevin Love and then model Kevin Love, all right?
Yeah.
This man has been in the league long enough. I'm with Sahi. He allowed to complain, okay? Now to my point with this, Portland just is weird. And not because, I get why he'd want to play for Portland, but it's not a good fit because he's a 3-point point. He is no longer fat Kevin. Dude, give me back fat Kevin Love. 24 points a game, led the league in rebounds 4 years in a row. Give me the fat guy. Skinny Kevin Love is like Chris Bosh. He just shoots 3-pointers and he can kind of rebound, but he doesn't play defense. They already got that. His name's Carmelo Anthony. You know what I mean? It's not any different. Either way, he's coming off the bench, because Covington, although I could easily argue Kevin Love's about the same as Covington, it's what we just said. He about the same. And Kevin Love gets paid like $27 or $28 million. It's like, Kevin Love, he needs to go to a team that needs somebody who can pull the space. To me, I would say not that I think they would do it, but I think it needs to be more like Philadelphia. They could use a 3-point shooter. Kevin Love's like 43%, he needs to go to a team that needs 3-point shoot. They got Dame fucking Lillard. They don't need his ass. I'd rather have Dame Lillard shoot 50 times than Kevin Love shoot once. And again, Kevin Love is a 43% shooter, but that's Dame. That's $1 Dame, man. It's just a weird fit. But to Sahi's point, the boy's just tired of it. He's like, bruh, this is the second year in a row. I got to hear about Sexland all over again. I'm getting paid my money, but I don't get to play. They just benching me all the time. The only good, decent guy they traded to the Lakers. They won't trade my ass for some reason. I think he's just salty. He wants to go back to LA. His dad, or was his uncle's a beach boy? I don't remember which one, dad or uncle. One of them's a beach boy. He's just like, dude, I am way too cool and too hip to be in Cleveland anymore. It was only cool when LeBron was here. Now I want out. So I think that's what this is. He just vocalizing, get me out of here. please. Dan Gilbert sucks. Worst owner, blah, 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 sucks. Cleveland sucks. This team sucks. I'll go to Portland. I'll play behind Carmelo Anthony's ancient ass. Like, I think that's where Kev's at. I think that's where he's at.
Anywhere but here.
Well, I was gonna bring up Zion or Steph. Who would you rather see in a play-in game? But I think we're gonna skip that because speaking of play-in games, our big story to close out the show here. Well, without the wild card, I should say. LeBron shots fired this week. He said in a post-game interview after they lost to the Raptors 121-114, whoever came up with this play-in option, or I think he said, or whatever they call it, should be fired. Now, to me, that's a shot at who? Adam Silver. LA now 0-2 since LeBron has returned on his high ankle sprain, and 1-6 since AD returned. Now, I just, before we get into this, last year during the heart of the pandemic, I don't know if you guys remember, but LeBron was cheering on teams that were in the play-in format. And then back in 2018, when it was introduced, he tweeted, "This is whack." So he's been all over the place. Is this about how LeBron feels about the NBA regulations, or is he just throwing a temper tantrum because this is where they're at right now? Marvin.
Arf.
I think this is a temp. Y'all know how much I'm a big fan of LeBron. He's my guy, but he's throwing a temper tantrum right now because of where they at, and it's understandable because the other guys on the team have not held the fort down since he's been gone, and that's facts. AD has not been himself since coming back from the injury, so they have really nowhere to blame but themselves for being in this position, so I would say, like, they have to figure it out. This really this really puts the pressure on them. This is good because this really asks them the question, do they want this bad enough? Because right now they're not playing like it. They're not playing with a sense of urgency. So I really think this is coming from a place of panic. I'm not a huge fan of the play-in games, but you can't say that now when you were the 2 seed in the West. Like, you can't say that now. Like, that's already too late. That doesn't make him look good. And coming back from the injury, LeBron's not 100%, and KD is not KD. AD is not playing well. Right now, they don't even look like a playoff team or like they even want to play at basketball at all. I watched the game last night. I don't even know what the hell I watched. Had to cut that shit off because it was pissing me off. I try to stay unbiased, but I'm a Lakers fan. But still, it just doesn't make any sense that they're placing onus on the play-in game right now and want to make this about something else. You need to make this about your team, LeBron. This is about your squad. This is not about anything else. Y'all are the reigning, defending NBA champions. Now, if anybody you should be mad at is Adam Silver for starting the season so damn early. Now, that's the shit, because that's the reason why all these injuries have piled up. And that's the reason why the Lakers are in this position. And we called this when we started this. We started the wire at the beginning of the year. We said that he started the season too damn early. And now the Lakers are in this position where they might not even make the play-in game. So they need to just focus on these last 10 games of the season, which LeBron is not going to play in 2 of them. So they have their backs against the wall right now. They got a lot of shit to worry about other than a play-in game. They need to play basketball.
Richie, my man, state your piece.
He's being a hypocrite, man. What else is there to say? Let's see here. Here's the quote. You got Portland, you got Memphis, New Orleans, and Sacramento tinkering around there. So if there's 5 or 10 games left, why not those guys battle it out? Make them play each other 5 times. So he would, to Marvin's point, when he was on top of the mountain, yeah, make him make my competition play extra games. But now when he's at the bottom, it's a problem. And now somebody's fucking stupid. No, man. I'm a huge LeBron fan, and in terms of his skill set, to me, easily you could argue with GOAT. I always still say Wilt, but to me, I have him over MJ just in terms of skill set. Not even close. Incredible player. But one of the things about LeBron is he doesn't keep stuff to himself. He's very open to sharing in the moment. And I think this is one of those moments. I think if he really, like 5 years ago, LeBron is very like good about his branding. Not that I'm saying he's bad, but he just always understood if I say something, people might get into me on it. And for lately, he's like getting older and he just doesn't care as much. So he's just like, you know what? This is bullshit for me right now. So I think it's dumb. You know, I think he needs to get over it. You know, like that's on you, man. And, you know, I've already said this earlier last week on The Wire. My biggest fear, and I said this over and over and over, biggest fear is they have to do the play-in against the goddamn Golden State Warriors. Because I'm telling you, the people out here will never let me hear that down. If the shitty Warriors somehow pull an upset off the Lakers, you know, like I am disappointed in them. You know, Anthony Davis averaging 16 points a game. When he's on the court, they're minus 54 when he's on the court. Didn't see that one coming. They, you know, like Sahi and I, for most of the season while Marv was gone, we were talking about like, it's the Lake show, you know, and even though they're kind of falling, as long as they in the playoffs, they can bring it back. But like we talked about last week and like we're talking about now, there's 10 games left. LeBron's out for 2. AD is looking like a shell of himself. And I believe they'll do the play-in. But the way they're playing, even the Golden State Warriors will beat them right now. And that's saying something because that's a terrible. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I'd love to keep talking more and more about this, but this quote is just indicative of their play. Like LeBron is being salty because they playing bad. And quite frankly, LeBron, you're also playing bad. You're a part of the problem right now. And I understand not having to play the back-to-backs. You getting ready for the play-ins because you know it's coming. Like, let's keep it real. The way they're playing, I don't see how they do. I think they end up in the play-ins. I'm calling that now. I think they're going to have to play in. Like, I think they will be, you know, between 8 through 10, and they're going to have to do the play-in for sure. So disappointing for him to say that, just because, you know, when I think of leaders of basketball, when I think of people who usually, you know, transcend the complaints, he's usually at the top of the list. But this is an example of him just being upset with his season and bloviating it out with the league. You know, this is not the league's fault. They chose to do this. He backed it last year and now he doesn't like it. You know, long term, I think this is something to remove. But having said that, he knew this was coming at the beginning of the shortened season, and he knew this was like on the way. If he didn't want to deal with it, then they should have played better. It's really that simple.
It is indeed that simple. Sahi, what are your thoughts? And subsequently, with a powerful voice like LeBron has, and to Richie's point, should he be more careful with what he says?
I mean, he's just, you know what I'm saying, letting it fly. He doesn't want to be in a playoff tournament, so he's just going to say, you know what, this sucks. Whoever thought of this should be fired. I don't want to be in this position. But in all honesty, he should be thankful that they'll have a chance if they slip some more to at least play in. He's got a little bit more time to just get everything right. You know what I'm saying? And if they have to play in, they'll play in. And if they don't have, you know what I'm saying? So he's got to understand, like, yo, AD's out. I've been out. It's a shortened season. I don't have a lot of time left, but we just got to do what we got to do to get in there. Just not complain about it. That's what the people want to see out of LeBron. But his whole career, he's always, you know what I'm saying? Quote, if you're not a LeBron fan, I'm sure you've been rubbed wrong by something LeBron has either said or done. So he's always putting himself in that position. So it's just another case of that showing again. But I think they'll be all right. I hope so. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it sucks for him. But for the league, the playing games are great. You know what I'm saying? So they're not.
He made a great point. Sorry, just real quick. If they're 9th or 10th, I'm pretty sure LeBron's gonna be like, this is a great idea.
Right.
So he's gonna do a post show interview one of these weeks when the Lakers don't make it into the playoffs. He's gonna be like, The Wire, whoever came up with choosing the playoffs early on needs to be fired.
Right, for real. For real.
All right. So for the wild card, I got a fun one for you guys. It has been an awesome show. Marvin, the wild card is something we introduced this season, and I'm excited for you to enjoy. Just something goofy to find. And on the H2G podcast once as a talent show, you did some push-ups. So I thought this was great, especially with you coming back. Just yesterday, a North Carolina man broke a Guinness World Record for push-ups in 1 hour. Real quick, I want to know what your guys' guess is on how many he did, and unless you've already seen the sheet.
In an hour.
It's a world record? Like Guinness World Record?
Guinness World Record, yep. Push-ups in an hour.
In an hour.
In an hour. Okay.
5,280.
Whew.
I'm going to go with
get down there, you do every push-up. No, what?
I'm going with 2,600.
That sounds spot on.
I'm taking half of Sahih's, 2,600.
2,600.
And whatever half of 280 is, 140. 26,140.
Say 1,500.
2,600.
14.
15.
One push-up,
1,500.
Bob.
So the record to date yesterday was 2,900 push-ups.
29.
And Shane, it's TSHANE. To Shane, I believe, Johnson. He's a U.S. Marine vet. Surprise, surprise, from Pineville, North Carolina. He performed 3,050 push-ups in 1 hour.
That's
Guys,
crazy.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. Hold on. Somebody talk. I'm going to do some calculations. I'm 1 sec.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
That's insane.
Doing right. I could
Like, is his head hitting the ground? Like, like at least one of them. Like that's incredible concentration for one.
Right. Who counted? Is what I want.
Right.
Yeah, I had to have been a representative of the Guinness World Records.
Yeah, that has to suck.
So that fool did almost 53 push-ups per minute. That's almost one push-up a second for 60 minutes.
Well,
that's
Marvin. You did 50 in 60 seconds, didn't you?
I did 50.
He did 50.
I did 50 in 60 seconds.
You're also.
But you got to do it. Oh, Sahi, I mean, look at Sahi's arm.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if he can do it for 60 minutes.
Now,
Nope.
you and I are fit, but we're not. Marvin and Sahi fit. Which either of you guys could beat this record?
Shit.
Not me.
It ain't me. It ain't me, Jack. Maybe Sahi, you got it, bro.
After about 250, I'm like, woo.
I tell you what, Sahi will beat the record. He'll beat the record. He'll do 54 push-ups a day for 62 days, and he'll beat the record in 62.
I could do that.
Right.
I could do that. Yeah.
I believe Sahi could do it in 62 days.
Yeah. 60
That's
minutes.
incredible. Oh man. All right. Well, this has been an awesome show. Thank you, fellas, as always. And thank you folks out there for watching and listening to The Wire. Make sure you check us out on H2GPodcast.com. Don't miss the H2G podcast in their brand new time slot on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch all of our old content at H2GPodcast.com. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and where all audio podcasts are played. You can find us there. For The Wire this week, I'm Justo. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8. I am pretty sure I could do 50 push-ups in a day.
In a day.
I've done 150
Just
push-ups
do 10
over the
every
course of an
commercial.
hour
Just do
workout,
10 push-ups every commercial break.
Yeah.